Blessing, morning, and love to all you good people in the Makers Bar family. This is your boy Seth Garu with Makers Bar, where we're creating 1 million leaders today for tomorrow. So I must say, those of you who have been following me for a little bit, you know that Hip Hop Cafe had been my love, and the artists that we had spotlighted in Hip Hop Cafe have been a passion of mine. Well, a couple of my new obsessions have been in the music scene, and this is one of the cats I'm obsessed about. Music depth, style, soul, talent, in the likes of some of the greats from the past. And I can't tell you enough about his When We Evolve tour that's going across 13 cities this year. This is AJ McQueen, and I'm telling you folks, he is someone you want to listen to. As soon as I have first caught on to this cat, the spell was cast as to his lyrical magician work as far as how he does his music. We are so pleased and honored and humble to have AJ McQueen, soul singer, hip hop artist extraordinaire beyond any of those titles that go. AJ, thank you, brother, for joining us today on Makers Bar. How are you, Cat?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for that intro. I really appreciate that. I give thanks. I'm glad to be here sitting with you.
Absolutely. When you say you give thanks, brother, who do you give thanks to? Because the
Yeah, man.
spirituality behind your music is beyond belief. So when you say you got to
Yeah,
give thanks,
I give thanks to God. Thank God. Thanks to the Most High. You know what I mean. Thanks to my Lord. Me. I'm a believer, man. So I'm always big on speaking life. I don't really get into the nuances of it. I leave it up to people. But the gospel is my foundation. You know what I mean. And I'm a believer. So I make sure
amen. AJ,
it's
small technical,
sorry.
small technical difficulty here.
Yeah. I
All
make
good.
sure that bleeds into my music. And it shows up. Um, in my words and also in my lifestyle and how I treat people, how I treat humanity, what I mean, how I treat the earth, yeah, man. And like I said, you're gonna hear it in my music though, for sure.
I got well, AJ, I got to tell you, Cat, I hear it in every single note and even in the flow. I don't know that there's one moment of your music that I've experienced that has not had a spiritual touch to it. That there truly is a radiant thing that the spiritual vibe in your music is there. So part of why I asked it was just to be able to give an insight to some of the folks who are watching us today. So
Yeah.
some of the people who inspired you, before we get into some of your origins, right off the bat, who were some of those folks that inspired your style?
Yeah, man. The likes of Bob Marley,
Oh yeah.
Tupac, yeah, Common, who else? Who else? Common, Lauren Hill, Erica Badu, a lot of the Soulquarians work, I consider myself a Soulquarian in my own right, because
Oh, I dig
that's
that.
that,
Oh,
what I'm saying? That music is
I
what
too.
really it just hit it when I first heard it, it hit me more than anything else, you know what I mean? So stylistically that, and then John Coltrane, Frank Sinatra, like these are people that I listen to and I'm like, man, I want my music to feel like this. So I want to make sure I project it, or that I express myself similar to this, or just gleaming from those artists, they really inspire me. They really inspire me. Nas, Nas is somebody who I cannot wait to meet. You know what I mean? Like I can't wait to meet Nasir Jones. So, and that's to name a few.
I got to tell you, it's like a fine wine. You hit all the notes that I tasted in your music. When I drink my wine, and when you get your good glass of wine, and they say, "What are some of the notes you taste?" You hit every single one of the
Oh,
artists that
bless him,
I,
bless him,
I
bro.
hear.
Yeah.
I hear in your music. So there's such a stylized touch of a lot of those cats, even to the Frank Sinatra vibe, because your music is truly a vibe. And when you say Soulquarian, it hits in that note. I know. So when I first saw one of your vibes, and it was the headline was, "I can't believe he did this over Anita Baker." Oh,
Yeah.
AJ, I got to tell you, I couldn't believe you did over Anita Baker.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yo, Cat, you killed it. That was
Gratitude.
phenomenal.
Thank you know,
That
and you
was
know what's
phenomenal.
crazy? I get a lot of people that ask me, they're like, man, so how did you do that to that beat? And I tell people when I heard music, when I heard different parts of it though. Like I heard different pockets that is not normally heard. You know what I mean? Whereas, and it's no blueprint to go off of because it's not hip hop. You know, that was soul and R&B. So it ain't like, oh, somebody else rapped on it, so he just jumped in the same pocket, lyrically that they jumped in. No, it was no other pocket. So as soon as I heard the beat, I created my own pathway. You know what I mean? And that's what I've been doing on these beats. I'm reimagining my own pockets on these beats, and it's just been amazing because it doesn't sound like the original record. Like when people hear my verse, it's gotten to the point now though, I'll be honest, where some of the artists who I remix, they've been reaching out to me like, look, all right now, like, you know, all right, you're not gonna have people forget the original.
Yo, I can see why. I can
you
see
know.
why. Because I
Yeah.
got to tell you, when you say recreating your own version and found your pathway, it's exactly, I couldn't have described it better. Because, and I would see why they would reach out to you, because there definitely is something that kicks in when I hear how you've done that. And
Gratitude.
I know that spirit is a big part of how our creation works go. And in the vein of that, when you're sitting down and you hear these beats, some artists describe it as I see kind of melodies in my dreams, or I'll start to see a pathway of this road I'm going down. How would you describe how that pathway happens when you're creating some of your music? And you touch on it a little bit with these artists, but is it something that just kind of hits you and you go on like a wave, or how would you describe your creation flow?
I just go off how I feel, bro. Like, I'm really in tune with my feelings, and I know that's not as common these days, unfortunately. For us black men, to really express ourselves. I just go off how I feel, bro. Like, I'm not trying to force my lyrics. I'm not trying to force my words. I go off how I feel, and I create my own. I reimagine the whole situation. You know what I mean? The whole beat. Um, but I'm really in tune with how I feel and my own thoughts. Like whenever I make music, I'm not making music to be vain. You know what I mean? I'm not being egotistical. Don't get me wrong. I got some records where you hear me, like you hear my confidence bleeding through the song, or you hear me, express myself. But I try to stay away from music that I try to stay away from creative music that talks about my possessions or my my vanity or how I think about myself. You know what I mean? So you know
Test 1, 2, 3. AJ,
but I'm sorry.
that's right.
Can you hear me now?
We're, yep, yep, we're
Okay,
good.
perfect. Um, I try to stay away from that as much as I can because I don't want to be vain. I don't want to be vain at all. So, you know, um, I just express myself, but I'm a believer, so I'm always tasked with making sure that there's a takeaway from this, like that people,
Oh, I like that.
they feel something when it's all said and done. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to just make music that's empty. I don't want to write music that's empty. I don't want to like, because if I get the luxury or the blessing of somebody listening to me, it is my responsibility to make sure that I'm saying something that's good for their soul.
Mm, mm. And you know what's so crazy about that? I think that's what's missing a great deal. And I want to delve into some of the absences of some of that same creative vibe that I think is in today's music. Just before we do that, though, AJ, let the people know your story, your origin story. Where do you hail from, and
Yeah,
when you were growing up, and how you got started in this?
yeah. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm from the west side of St. Louis, Missouri, Wellston to be exact. And I grew up in poverty, brother. I grew up. A lot of people say I'm from the hood. Man, listen, I'm from poverty. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm from poverty.
AJ,
Like
why you say like that, dude?
because it's like everybody want to be from the hood, be from the
AJ,
streets, bro. You don't want to be from poverty.
AJ.
You don't want to be from poverty. I'm from poverty, brother. We not.
AJ. AJ, yo, cat, I didn't expect that, dude.
You know, I'm from poverty,
Yes.
man. I'm from the ghetto. You know what I mean? Like,
Dig it.
and it's important that that I say it that way, because I think, there's a big misconception, people highlighting, the bad parts, that, the bad things about the streets and the hood. I'm not here to glorify, because I don't want somebody inspired, hearing my story like, oh man, that sounds alluring. I want to go do AJ. No, listen, I'm from poverty. I'm from a food desert. I'm from,
Yeah.
gangs, drugs, and violence outside the front door. You know what I mean? And
Oh, I dig
um,
it. Yeah.
what I can say, when I always talk about my life and I look at it in retrospect, it's just, the Most High's had His hands on me the whole time, brother. Like, because there's no way,
Amen. Amen.
that there's no way that I did something different. I wasn't smarter or faster or stronger than my peers and my neighbors and all that, but a lot of them not here no more. You know what I mean? So it's a blessing from God, bro. Like, I'm here
Mm.
because
Amen.
because God ordained me, anointed and selected me, and I wake up with gratitude in my heart, and I give thanks, because I'm from the streets for real. Like, and I was always, I don't like to ever talk about it as if I was just some like this villain, and I always want to villainize my community and hurt people. No, I never wanted to, actually, never even never wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never wanted to contribute to that, even at a young age. It's like I had this sixth sense of like, nah, that's wrong, even though nobody told me it's wrong. I have a feeling that this is not good. You know what I'm saying? So, um, you know, but 12 years old, I got involved in, like, just whatever's going on in my neighborhood. So, gang violence, you know what I mean? And so I got shot when I was 15, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And
wow.
and I lost my friends that night. I lost a couple of my friends that night. And my mom sent me away, shortly after that, to Houston, Texas, and I stayed with multiple families throughout high school, you know what I mean? And I was homeless throughout high school, wherever,
Oh, wow.
wherever there was a bed at, a couch, somebody who was willing to let me in. That's how I got through high school, and it was challenging. It was very challenging, to do, when I look back at it. At that time I had no choice. And but I always had a gift, bro. Like, even through, growing up in the
Hold
hood.
on,
And
real quick,
yeah.
AJ. I like that you said something. I wanted to go to that, if you don't mind
Hmm.
me interjecting. You said you knew you always had a gift, though.
Yeah, bro. I knew, bro. I knew. I'm talking about as early as 6. The gift of writing. I've always had my gift of writing. Always. Like, I was abused as a child. You heard me. I was abused ever since I could remember. My mom's boyfriend, not my dad, but my mom's boyfriend, used to abuse us. My mom, my sisters, all that. And my only expression that I had, because I couldn't say words, I couldn't talk. He was that violent. I would write. I would write on anything. I would write on a piece of paper. If I couldn't find a paper, I write on a wall. If I couldn't find a wall, I write on myself. You know what I mean? And that became my therapy. At a young age. To my outlet. I didn't know it was gonna be a creative outlet. I didn't know people would like it eventually. But it started from me just wanting to express my thoughts. And but I've always had a gift, man. Like, and a lot of us have gifts. We have them. You heard me. It's, the world is the music, the noise gets so loud sometimes that our gifts get like suppressed in the noise. But that's why it's important to quiet yourself, and to spend time in solitude, and have wise counsel and leaders and people that can see you in ways you can't see yourself yet. And so throughout high school, I had people speak life into me, and prophesy to me and tell me what my life will look like now. I mean, it's amazing it looks like that now. But yeah, I got sent away, stayed with multiple families, slept on couches. I didn't really get established, until like my mid 20s. I'm talking about like a finance, like just stability as it relates to, like, okay, cool, I have my own place, I have my own room, I have my own. But it took a long time for that, and even that I still experienced homelessness again as an adult. But again, I kept writing, bro. I kept writing. I've always been a writer, and when I was 19, I was invited to be on BET 106 in Park. to tell my story. I actually did a teen violence special on BET. You can't find it on YouTube or nothing because it was live, and I kept talking about God and Jesus on the show, and so they expunged it from BET. It's out there somewhere. You got to go to like different outlets and find it. But I kept talking about my faith, on national TV, and so they didn't keep that on file. But I was on there, and
Of
then
course not. Of
right,
course not.
right. You know what I'm saying? They didn't keep that on file.
I do.
And but from there I started getting booked all across the country. But as a speaker though, they didn't book me as an artist because they didn't see me as an artist. Again, they saw me on BT as an activist. They put the word youth activist on the TV, and I didn't even know what an activist was. I had never heard of that before. So it's amazing how again that foretold what my life was gonna end up looking like. Um but I started getting booked across the country as a speaker. So next thing you know, I'm on airplanes, at 20 years old, going to speak to youth, adults, and elders that are way older than me. You know what I mean? And they just wanted to hear my wisdom. I didn't even look at it as wisdom at a young age. I was just talking from my heart. Like I never looked at it like, oh, I'm just this wise man. No, I didn't know I was wise. You know what I mean? It was people telling me that I was wise. So I wrote my first book when I was 23. And then I started a nonprofit organization. It's a performing arts and literacy 501(c)(3) organization. And then I was awarded the White House Service Achievement Award from Barack Obama. And then I got congressional certificate from Congress. And then I got my own day in the city from the mayor of Houston, Texas. Um, and then I said to myself, okay, cool, AJ. Cause by this time I had racked up a lot of like awards and just, like achievements, top 30 under 30 entrepreneur, top 40 under 40 entrepreneur award. Um, a critically acclaimed poet, critically acclaimed activist. I've marched for Sandra Bland, Mike Brown, Tamir Rice. I protested the George Floyd Act of City Hall. I went to the Million Man March, with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I did all
Oh yeah.
that. But it was something in my spirit that never went away. And it was like, cause while I was doing that, I wasn't rapping, I wasn't expressing it. I was writing. I've always wrote, but it wasn't until like 4 years ago. What's my no, like 5 years now. Like 5 years ago that I was like, okay, I've done everything. It's time to rap again. It's time to rap. And I came back to music full force. I stopped everything else I was doing. I stopped all my other avenues, all my other, entrepreneurial side quests that I was doing because I knew that God was bringing me back to my first love, which is again writing. I've always been a writer, but expressing it. You got to have an expression. You know what I mean? So the perfect marriage. And now all of that's has happened in a span of 4 or 5 years. Whatever I've been able to grow and people know me as an artist, my albums, all that, 4 or 5 years, bro. And I'm here now, and now 3 tours in, I'm gonna go on my third tour. um I
Say the
dropped
name
my
of the tour.
When We
Say the
Evolve
name of the
tour.
tour.
Yep, When We Evolve tour. um I released my first album last year, Sorry Mom's Distracted. This year I just released my second studio LP, which is When We Evolve. I'm doing it all independent, what I mean, I don't have no label. No bots, no machines, no compromise either, what I mean. And I'm doing it with integrity. Yeah, I just got my mom out the hood. I just moved my mom out the hood earlier this year.
God bless. AJ. Test 1 2 3.
you know. So the city I told you I grew up in, the food desert I grew up in, I didn't just get successful and leave my mama behind, bro. You know what I'm saying? I went to go get her. So, and I'm just grateful to be here, bro. I give God glory every day.
Always, always. Now, I'm curious if you don't mind us delving into this. And what does your mom think about your musical career and some of your music now?
Oh man. She loves it now. Like, it was a hard path at first because, I was expressing things that like my music is about my real life. So, my first album, Sorry Mom's Distracted, really highlighted her. It didn't really it was highlighting me, of course, but inadvertently, I was talking about my childhood. And so my mom, she I used a lot of our sound bites, in that album. She never knew I was recording her, by the way. So it wasn't until I put the album together that I asked her. I was like, Mom, I got these sound bites. I want to use them for my album. And the reason I started getting sound bites, like I would just start recording my conversation because I didn't grow up like, well, after I got shot, I got sent away. So I wasn't around my mom for years, So I would always record because I cherish those moments. And then my dad passed away like 7 years ago now. So um when he passed, I started realizing the importance of capturing my moments. So I didn't plan on when I was recording her, I never planned on using it for anything. It wasn't until I wrote the album where I'm like, but I made sure that I took out things in those sound bites that would make her sound like a monster, that will make her sound bad, that will make her look bad, that'll make her look like that made me like a victim and all that. No. I put things in there that told a story. And that album actually brought us closer together. So she loves my music now.
What was the name of that album?
Sorry, Ma, I was distracted.
Sorry, Ma, I was distracted. I got to tell you, the creativity behind that and the wisdom behind that, it just gives me the feedback that you've been doing it longer than 5 years, because there
Yeah.
is such an aged wisdom to the creativity of that. And so it definitely, you're an old soul in a young body,
Thanks, brother.
because I got to tell you, absolutely, Cap, because some of the words, in particular, this is one of the ones that sticks out for me when you said God sent to God.
Yeah.
And there were so many layers to what that can be, how that can be interpreted.
Yeah.
But the fact that you use that as a part of how the organic nature of your music is, that has stuck with me and rang with me so many times. And
Yeah.
then the rest, the next part that comes after that. And so I was very curious that within your experience with your mom, because I didn't know that part of your creativity, part of me, was using some of those stories with your mom, was that the spirituality behind that just bleeds through. And I couldn't have described that better. So when you're putting pen to paper and, and that flow is coming, do you see the words before your eyes, or is it something audible to you when your creativity is flowing like that? Is it something visual, or is it something audible?
Man, it's definitely something visual, man. Like, is that a Stevie Wonder, man? Which I had accidentally
Dig it. I
I
know where you're
accidentally
going with that, Cat.
I accidentally left him out of my influences. So because I have more influences than what I told you, but Stevie Wonder is definitely in my top five of greatest of all time. Michael Jackson is one of my biggest influences as well. But when we talked earlier, I was trying to keep it more so hip hop, and then I started to go into other.
Yeah.
But I forgot about those two. But is that of Stevie, man?
I still, and just like I said, just going back to, I still see those, I taste those notes in that
Yeah,
fine
bro.
wine. Stevie
Yeah,
Wonder, Michael Jackson too, Cat.
yes,
You're
bro.
naming all the
Just
cats where your
expression,
music
bro.
is.
Just
Yes.
expression, man. Stevie Wonder said, "I see us in a park." You know what I mean? And
Mm.
he's blind, so it speaks to the power of visualizing. Me, bro. Some of those songs I wrote, I was in a dark place, bro. Some of them, some I wrote was in a dark place. Some I was sleeping in the car. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about like some of my older songs. I was in a dark place. If you go listen to Sorry Miles Distracted, it's gonna sound way different than my album When We Evolve. They sound two totally different because When We Evolve sounds like I've been traveling. It sounds like I've been going to other countries because I have. It sounds like I've been seeing the world. It sounds like I'm not dealing with heartbreak no more. It sounds like I am getting I got a little money in my pocket. You know what I mean? But Sorry Miles Distracted don't sound like that. It sound like I'm still figuring it out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a visualizer, bro. I'm a seer. And that's a gift from God. I can see things for sure.
Mm. Mm. Give us a little sample of one of the things that stick out in your head about your first album that would be different. If you don't mind, give us a little sample of that.
Um, okay, so I got something I say, um, it all started on Oak Grove. Remember Granny standing at that stove screaming, "You better eat this food before it's cold." We were young with old souls, starting new days with old clothes, circle of life searching for loopholes. Young Simba. On 6'4", I was a young member, wishing boys would. Real number. My family hood had no tree. My family tree had no timber. I remember no TVs, eating TV dinners, going through hell, but we had God with us. So take a ride with us and you can see it. See, my hood ain't had no scenics. The sun shooting like the phoenix. We ain't reading books, we getting booked, trying to find a meaning. It's hard to sleep at night when you spend your days dreaming, spend your days scheming, trying to hit a lick. The power tongue is strong as hell. I had to quit saying I ain't start speaking life to myself. My cousin depressed. I seen her put a knife to herself. She take risks. I wish she could see her worth because she a goddess, she a earth, she a highness, she deserve way more than what she take. But I don't judge, I just relate. I've been trying to find the love too. I navigate the hate. I had so much on my plate,
Mm,
it was hard to say grace. Hard times, no matter how it's been, we on break. Sometimes you gotta let the ground test your faith. One sign from the most high is all it takes. One time I almost gave up. Amnesia, forgot what I was made of. My higher self say, dog, what you afraid of? They was sleeping on me, but I stayed up. Now I'm way up. Yeah. So that's from my first album.
mm.
I was visualized. My grandma passed already. So I said it all started on Oak Grove. Remember Granny standing at that stove. I was talking about something that happened when I was 7. And
And
then
you
and then
saw
and
that.
then I saw it. But then when you go play When We Evolve, you heard I'm in a new season of life. I'm feeling right. Was in a dark place. Now I finally see the light. My temple illuminated.
Mm.
Was stuck in the house ruminating. I detox, feeling rejuvenated. That Palo Santo is fumigating. I'm cleansing my space now. I used to be spaced
Oh,
out. Yo, that's the new album. So I just the first verse, the first one I gave you, that was from the old album. That was where I was at that time. I don't write music because it sounds good or they'll like this. No, I'm talking about where I'm at in my life in hopes that you can relate.
mm. And you know what? I saw the natural progression too, AJ. I
Yeah,
saw the natural progression. Yo, that hit me too. And you said, now I see the light. That was like a whole other vibe, cat.
yeah, bro. Yeah.
I saw a whole other vibe. So now, when we evolve,
Hmm.
talk about that. Talk about that. Elaborate on the title. When we evolve.
It's a statement, it's a question, and it's a call to action, bro. You know what I'm saying? When we
How is it?
evolve,
Talk about the call to action first,
yeah,
if you don't mind.
yeah, when we evolve, like when we evolve, this happens. I have a song on the album called "When We Evolve" too, and the song it's really the thesis and the summary of the whole album. It says, "When we evolve, we rise from it all. We go to higher levels, watch our problems get small. When we evolve, we break through the walls of our lower self and watch our spirit stand tall. When we evolve, we know when to call on the Most High, let them fight all our wars. When we evolve, so." When that's a call to action. When we evolve, these things happen. You know, a lot of people talk about growth. I'm really big on evolution. You know, a lot of people talk about change, evolve. You can change and still have on the same shirt, but you can change your pants. But evolution is when you can't fit the pants, the shirt. If you don't even know where to shop, you don't even shop there no more because you cannot fit. You can't even fit. You don't even know where to. I don't even. I don't recognize that version of myself no more. That's evolution.
Mm, mm. So I think one of the reasons why I really wanted people to catch the wave of your music is because there's been a dearth of depth in in music in this way, and you are bringing that back in such a strong way, and I just find myself captivated by the depth of that. And so
Attitude.
when you look at the music scope of things, today's music artists, well, first I would ask, do you see the dearth of depth in music today that I'm talking about? Are we on the same page with that? Do you see the majority of, or what I'm finding, and again, from being back in the day, what I'm finding is it's rare to find an artist like you, and it's like truly you are digging in the dirt to find the diamond, and then when you find the diamond, you don't want it to grow into this whole other kind of gem. So
Yeah.
in the music world, are you seeing some of that same thing as far as the depth of music?
Yeah, no, for sure. I it's definitely a rarity these days, you know what I mean? It's definitely a rarity. It's a rare find, you know what I mean? But there are some today, you know what I mean, that's there. It's um it looks different than a lot, you know what I mean? It's more underground, it's more independent, it's more separate from like the industry. So it may sound like or look like it's not as popular or it's not as good, but it is. You know what I mean? But music, it's coming back around right now. I believe there's a
I
renaissance
agree.
happening. You know what I mean? There's a
Oh, I
renaissance
agree.
happening. You know what I mean? Of artists, thinkers, creatives, independent souls and people that can't be bought, people that can't be owned, people, they're not instructed delegates. You know what I mean? It's standalones, I heard, you know what I mean? And I'm definitely leading that charge in a big way. Um, you got your artists that are disruptors, you know what I mean? And but it's not as prevalent for sure. And I think that it's not as it's not as marketable. Let me say that. Like, it's not as
Yes,
marketable. It's out there. It's
yes.
just you're not gonna see it unless they make the noise themselves, i.e. me. I made my own noise because they not gonna promote me. They not gonna say, hey, you know what I mean? Like, we need to play this on the radio, or let's get this on the shade room, or let's get this on, Ball Alert, or all the blogs that people on. Because my music is disruption. It calls you to think. It calls you to feel. It calls you to apologize. It calls you to love. It calls you to control yourself. It calls you to make sure you're not being vain, and make sure it causes you to think minimally. It causes you to eat better. It causes you to you know it makes you think about it. I'm not telling people what to do or how to do it. Like, the way I see the world is the only way. No, I'm just making you think about it at all. Like, think, feel, you know
You continue to hit some of the wisdom notes of why I've been appreciating your music, because I think it does. It's very much an independent path to how this direction goes. Can you hear me okay? I thought I
yes, sir.
just lost you. Okay, dig it. And I do see the renaissance of the music too. I think there even though I see there's a dearth, I because part of what I do is I search for artists that is committing something to their artistry, and I
Mhm.
do search for that. But I think the what's being fed to the masses is what
It's
sometimes I
definitely
see as the
right.
curtains.
I agree. I
And
agree
I
with that 100%.
Yes, and I had a nightclub for 8 years, Hip Hop Cafe, and part of the whole goal was in spotlighting artists like yourself that were creating this kind of bright shining light, and that were Soulquarians, as we so
Hmm.
selectively chose that term. But I just find that the masses don't immediately catch on to the wave of artists like yourselves. That's the
Right.
dearth I mean. So for sure. And I mentioned to you earlier some of the cats that I'm feeling also that are part of what I feel that Renaissance. Yourself, Red Lotus. There's another youngster from St. Louis. Actually, he's a young cat. So I think they're out there. What I'm hoping to be able to do is we continue to spotlight artists like yourself that are saying, here's a message, and it's not just something preachy. It's just something for you to get into and just feel that kind of
And then
vibe.
feel right.
So
Yeah.
yes, and so, pardon me. So that what I continue to hope is that we get to spotlight more of you and the tours that you're on, because there's this other thing that I want to tag on this question. On your tour, the
Mhm.
aspirations are for people to leave an AJ McQueen music event with what? So some might say, I want them to leave with this feeling of God's blessed me, or some might feel I want them to leave with this idea that you can be in love again and romanticize, or I want them to leave, go treat your woman better, treat your man better, or I want them to leave, become politically activated, or I want them to leave with spiritual vibe. Just for you. And you know what? It might even be, bro, that you feel I just want them to leave knowing they had the AJ McQueen experience.
Yeah.
Whichever that is, how would that be?
When people leave, an experience with me, I want them to have questions, man. You know, um,
Mm, elaborate. That's interesting.
you know, I used to think I knew it all. I used to want to know it all. I used to think I had all the answers, man. And especially at a young age, couldn't tell me nothing. And but through practicing, through just attachment and solitude and fasting and spending time with God and falling on my face, you know what I mean, and taking a step back from everything, therapy, all the things. I realized the power of questions. It's not about having the answers; it's about having the questions. I don't have all the answers, but I do have the right questions. And I think that what
Yeah.
happens with questions is it makes you look at things. It makes you look at the person on the side of you. It makes you look at, why am I standing here? Who are you? Why am I? Why am I? Why are we doing this? And you may then the questions make you go find the answer. You know what I mean? So I want when people leave my show, my tour, my experiences, like, why am I eating what I'm eating? Why am I in this relationship? Why am I working this
Mhm.
job? Now you may find an answer, and you may be able to stand on that answer. But I think that a lot of people, 85% of people are just mindless, bro. No, just they don't question nothing. They're gonna take whatever this world gives and keep it and say this is it. But greatness is that's not what greatness is. That's not what God is. That's not what growth and evolution is. So I want people to leave with questions, man. Why am
Mm.
I not chasing my dreams? Why am I settling? Why have not I not called my mom and apologize? Why haven't I talked to my dad in a while? I want questions. I want you to be like, man, you know. And so I know that's a different way to approach that question, but I mean,
I,
it's
I I
it's
love
it's
that. No,
you
you know what?
it's
That's perfect.
powerful question. Wisdom is powerful questions. It's not the answers, it's the questions. I have powerful questions. Why? Why? I'm a rebel. I have soul rebel tatted on my neck. I'm a rebel. Why? AJ, go do this. Why? AJ, eat this food, eat this processed food. Why? You know what I'm saying? And I think when with why you can find the root of your answer. Then you can stand on your answer. And then, some people leave with that, but also um empowered, man. When people get their power back, man. A lot of us have given our power away. Um, and get activated, activate your genius. You come to my show. I want you to leave like ready to whatever's been dormant, you hear me? Whatever ideas, whatever goals, whatever inventions, whatever love has been dormant, your relationship with God been dormant. Next day, I want you to be like that night. Nah, forget next day. That drive back from the concert. I
That's
want
what I'm
you.
talking about.
Yeah, I want you to sit in your car and talk to God about it.
You mentioned something. You mentioned even if it's in therapy. So you and with black men in particular, I've been also finding another resurgence where there was a dearth, where black men are advocating for therapy and mental health as
Yeah.
well, spiritually. And so you are an advocate yourself of black men seeking therapy and mental health.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, speaking about the Renaissance again, there's a Renaissance of and a movement of you know emotionally intelligent black men.
Oh yeah.
We have again,
Speak on that. Speak on that.
it goes back to questions. We have the questions now. You know what I'm saying? We have better questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we we seeking different knowledge out now. You know what I mean? We our vocabulary has increased. You
Mhm.
know, we not just saying I'm mad. We found other words. I'm irritated. I'm frustrated. I'm bothered. I don't
Mm.
feel safe. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the word. That's they mad that we found that. That vocabulary did increase. You know what I'm saying? We
You
ain't- we ain't-
talking.
we ain't putting up with
You
nothing.
talking.
Now they like, man, they ain't putting up with nothing. Yeah, because we found self love. We found that we made the image of God. You know what I mean? And we spent so much time being told that we are secondary, and that we gotta, in order to find God, we gotta talk to this person, who talk to this person, who talk to that person, who talk to that person, who gotta give us permission to operate in our gifts. No, we found the one-on-one communication again. We found that we want to love ourselves first before we love another, anybody else. You know what I'm saying? And so I encourage you. I encourage. I speak on a lot of my music. That we seek therapy. And that we express ourselves though. Confess your faults to one another. That's what the good books say. So
Mhm.
express yourself, find wise counsel, have community, have brotherhood. You know what I mean? And that love that you give yourself, then you can give that love to your partner, your kids, whomever.
You really hit on something, because I think I've seen this. I remember it was about 3 months ago, and I was amazed that it hadn't hit bigger than it had, and it had black men, and the term was "I'm frolicking." I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that video? I'm frolicking, and
Uh-uh.
so I came. Say it again.
I posted a video frolicking, so yeah,
Oh, dig it,
I
and see,
did.
that's what I'm saying.
It's on my page. I rolled down the hill. Listen,
I did. Oh,
I was at a
hey,
park shooting a video. I was at a park shooting a video, and we was leaving the video shoot, and I took off running, and my team was trying to figure out where I was running to, so they followed me. Bro, I rolled down a hill in overalls. I saw a big old hill in the park, and I remember that when I was a child, I used to roll down hills, and
Me too.
I
Me
saw a
too,
big
AJ.
hill, bro. I rolled down the whole thing. I was itching for 3 weeks, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
Yes, bro. Well, the thing, AJ, I didn't even know that you had done it too. I got to say, I reposted that video too, because, and not to get too serious, but also to express this. We as black men, we have been burdened and weighted down with the sins of everyone. And so when I saw this, and I remember my dad was very much a man about frolicking or experiencing black men joy, and we don't have those. So when I saw that video, and this was what told me that also we found new words to
Right,
describe and express. And so when I saw I'm frolicking, I just had to think, we as men of color, we don't have those words, we don't have those experiences to be able to share, and even to have been in a space like that was the health that I've seen that we're experiencing as men of color, the health that has been resurging, that we've discovered there are new ways for us to get
right,
healthy,
facts.
whether it be through spiritual therapy and so forth. And so I was so amazed just seeing brothers saying I'm frolicking, and they were
Hey,
some of the
bro,
cats.
I'm probably gonna end up frolicking today. Like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get me a salad. I'm gonna get me a juice, and I'm gonna frolic, man. You know, they gonna get this frolic. I don't care. You gonna get this frolic today, man, right? So whether you like it or not, you know what I mean? Man,
AJ,
yeah,
yo, cat. AJ,
yeah.
dig it. Yo, AJ, I expect
Telling
that
you,
too. Dig it.
you're gonna get this frolic. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna go to cold plunge, and I got 30 minutes of frolicking. I ain't got no plans, no nothing. I'm just gonna go around and frolic, bro.
Oh
Just,
man, AJ, yo, bro.
yeah,
AJ, oh, I gotta tell you, man. Look,
yeah.
now you know what I gotta do. I'm gonna have to take 30 minutes today to go frolic too, man.
Just go, bro. Just 30 minutes, bro. What are you doing today? Frolicking. Look, we need to schedule frolicking, man. Like put it on your calendar, bro.
AJ,
After the gym, go frolic.
oh man,
That's you know
AJ,
what?
cat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm tell my assistant put that on my itinerary. At this
Oh man,
time, I'm frolicking. I
AJ.
don't nobody bother me. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. I'm just I'm just frolicking,
Oh,
bro. I don't
yo,
know.
cat.
I don't know, man.
Oh, AJ, yo, cat. I expect that one, bro.
Yeah, bro. Like we need to normalize that,
Now,
bro. Like,
we do,
yeah, bro.
we do,
So that's
and
what I'm
you
saying.
know, yo. So now, AJ, I'm gonna have to find at least 30 minutes to go frolic.
Yep, that's it, bro. 30 minutes frolicking, bro. We gonna feel much better about ourselves.
Oh, and I think it's so important because, as I mentioned, oh man, AJ, you got me tickled on that one, cat. I got
Real.
to tell you, bro. But it's such a rarity. I remember my dad. I was blessed to have my father in my life, to say the blessing, and I try and give blessings to that all the time, because he was a man who he did all the sports, football, boxing, all that. but he believed in frolicking or
Yeah.
laughter and giving joy and supporting them. And so when I saw that, even though the moment caught me off guard, just saying how incredibly beautiful this is to see us have this moment. And I have kept that with now. You got me thinking.
Yeah, bro.
I was trying to be real serious for a second. Then I just
Nah, I'm
thought you
going.
said
Yeah, bro.
30. Yeah.
A good frolic is coming today.
Yeah.
Me and my
And you know
home.
what the thing
Yeah,
is?
yeah.
And you know what the thing is? Why it gives me joy is because when I thought about my dad, it would make me laugh too. But even in the moment with the men and us having them, is the word itself. It brings a laughter and a joy and
Yeah.
an
No. Yeah.
ease.
For sure.
And I find myself even as a poet myself, we don't have the selection of vocabulary that says frolic with
Thanks.
us. So
Yeah.
it can tickle the funny bone, but there's a great joyous levity I find that in this renaissance where we as black men, we have found that we have a space where we can start experiencing some of those moments. And that was such a revelation to me. And I'm so glad that you did that too. Now I got to go look for the video where you rolling
Yeah.
down the hill, AJ.
I'll send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, bro.
and so and so I find, see, now you done got me in the laughter moment, Cat.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad because I want when other men, and even actually I want to say this, I even want women of color. I want everyone to be able to see this. Two black men having a conversation about black
Facts,
men
bro.
frolicking.
Facts.
Because I think, and I love that you said this, we must have these conversations in order for us to experience these moments.
Yeah.
And in order for us to continue to evolve, using the term of your album, that we have to have these moments
Yeah.
because there's a growth in the male movement of black men where we're finding different spaces that we can exist in,
Facts.
and they don't betray our manhood or masculinity as much as they
Indeed.
are an expansion of our spirituality and our growth.
Indeed.
And
Facts.
that's the other reason why your music has been such a gift to so many. And now
Facts.
that I know you frolic, now that I know that you frolic too, we got.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I do
spent.
that. Yeah. I'm due for one. Yeah. So,
And so,
yeah.
so give us some of the highlights of. Oh man,
When I get off
see
the
this
phone,
guy.
when this is over, I'm going to fight. You know what? I move that up my calendar, bro. I'm in a good. Yeah.
So AJ, you got me going, Cat. So some of the tours highlights and some of the songs that you're looking
Yeah.
that you're looking forward to. Some of the songs that you're really looking forward to exploring during this tour, or what? Name some of those songs that give us some of the insights to those.
You talking about for the ones that I plan on performing on the tour?
Yes, on the tour.
Um,
Yes, sir.
man. I have a song called Ginger Root, man. That
Mm,
it's been really. I mean, when I wrote it, I was in a great place. You know what I mean. So just transferring that energy into the audience is gonna be beautiful. I have a song called Touchdown that I'm excited to perform when we evolve as well. And then even some of my older stuff, I have a song called Healing is Gangster that I'm pulling out the archives. You know what I mean. I'm gonna
mm.
perform that
Healing
one.
is gangster.
Yeah,
Healing is gangster.
yeah.
Dig it. What's a few vibes to that?
Um, man, it's one of the most transparent songs I ever wrote. In the verse I say, when I was young, they tried to put me on meds, tried to say something wrong with my head. I couldn't sit still. They tried to box me like a kid's meal. I couldn't afford toys, but I always had a big wheel. I never cared what the doctor feel. I was misunderstood, being raised in the hood. I see the shooting, prostituting, and the gang recruiting. How the hell I'm gonna go to school and be a good student? No, I'm lashing out. The hate you giving me, I pass it out. No Halloween, but I mask it now. Trying to free myself. You call me crazy when I be myself. I'm reflecting on the past. The only time I see myself. Say I'm gonna be good before I hit 30, but then I hit 30 and my vision blurry. I went from trying to pay the bill. Now I went from trying to dodge the pills. Now I gotta pay the bills.
Mm,
Um, and still find time to heal what's real. So that whole song is just about mental health, man, and just my journey. You know what I mean? So I'm pulling that out the archives for sure.
Mm, mm. You know what? You touched on something, and I want to go back to it as far as mental health. You are an advocate of therapy and men seeking out counseling, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
What has it done? What do you see a change since you've entered therapy? And I could be wrong about this. Has it been since you got back into your music, where therapy has been a part of it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just so happened that it was really my last relationship. That um, I had a relationship a few years ago that really, made me see myself in a different light that I didn't see before. And so after that relationship was done, I started that really taking therapy seriously and just mental health, taking my mental health very seriously. Um, but just that place to express yourself, you know what I mean? Like it's so needed, man. It's so needed. And yeah, you can have friends, you can have a girlfriend, a wife, or homeboys, homegirls, whatever. But I think it's just it's really important to express it to people that are not in your circle as well. You know what I mean? To find an outlet where people that they not in your circle. Sometimes it ain't about the therapist giving you the right answers. It's just about finding a place to talk about it. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Get it off your chest. I don't even know. I love people. I love
mhm.
people. I love what I do. But there's times I go to my therapist or I write in my journal. I hate everybody. I don't want to talk to nobody. I love my dog, but then there's times I tell my therapist I hate my dog. He need a job. My dog needs a job. He need a job. All he do is walk around here and frolic. You know what I'm saying? The hell he frolicking for? You know what I'm saying? Like, what he frolicking for? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro. No. So I
Oh
love my
no!
dog though. I love him, man. But I think as men, we
Oh
need we
man!
need times to express the other part. You can,
Yes.
yeah, you as a man, you can love your wife, you can love your kids, but there's days, man, F them kids. They gonna have to figure it out. Today they gonna have to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But and who why we act like that's not normal, the duality of feelings, the polarity
Mm,
of feeling good and feeling bad, the polarity of
mm,
of 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 wanting to be lonely but also wanting to be around people but also wanting your solitude. What's the do there? Why are we acting like they don't exist in life? You know what I'm saying? Where you want to be around but you don't want to be touched. You want money but you don't want to work today. You want to eat but you don't feel like cooking. Why we letting this world turn us into these robotic, emotionless
oh, wow.
men that don't express the holisticness of life. I express the holisticness. I love the black woman, but the black woman gets on my damn nerves sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But I love you so much, but you get on my nerves all the time. I'm gonna fight for you,
AJ,
but I
you
don't want to
killing
talk.
me.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
and that's how I talk about music though. That's how I talk. That's why people, engage in my content because it's real. Like I'm not up here
Yeah.
like I'm not lying, bro. I'm not playing about life.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. Yeah, if you don't have that safe space with your friends, family, your relationships, express that. Go get a therapist, man. You can pay them to say whatever. There's client
Yeah.
and therapist privilege, so you can say whatever. They not gonna go repeat say, man. AJ said he don't like none of his kids. No, I love I got 40 kids. They all plants. I got 40 plants in here right now. And you know what I got to do? Feed them and water them. And there's times I don't feel like doing any of that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it's just healthy expression, man. Having
Yeah.
somebody to talk
Yeah.
to is important. I journal. I go to the gym, I cold plunge, I do things for myself. That's all therapeutic. So even for some people, it may not be the traditional like, oh, I'm gonna get a therapist. You know what I'm saying? But making sure that you are doing stuff that is therapeutic is equally important.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? You touched on that. I've been very privileged for, oh man, close to 30 years. I have a group of brothers, Chris and Coy and Tim, who we're all dads, and we have been there for each other, and it could be 2 months that pass and call each other up, and it's very therapeutic when we talk, and it's just an organic situation. That has
Right.
been helpful for me
That's
in the
beautiful.
support of that's a number of that, as well as therapy myself, going into therapy myself. And I'm so glad that I think it's important that, again, having these spaces to have these conversations. And that's why I was very curious how much it plays a role into this, some of the words and lyrics of your music, and how it's
Definitely.
graduated toward that. And if you saw a difference, so for sure, you mentioned your music was darker prior to this new album. And
Yeah.
so so was it the therapy that made this album particularly light, or was it just the evolution, or was it just the delving back into the music thing?
It was all of it, bro. It was all of it. It was like, it was the music. It was the therapy. It was the therapeutic moments. It was the book by Bruce D. Perry and Oprah Winfrey called "What Happened to You." That's an amazing book. It was
Repeat
the
repeat
time.
the title again,
Yeah,
if you don't mind, AJ. Repeat the title again.
"What Happened to You" by Bruce D. Perry and Oprah Winfrey. It was that. It was the coming to a place as a man to of stopping. It's important as a man. Stop, man. Just stop. Stop everything. You know what I mean? Stop. Sex. Stop drinking. Stop smoking. Stop calling. Stop everything for a little bit, and just to find the inflammatory markers. When your life is
Mm,
inflamed, you gotta fast from everything to figure out where the inflammation is coming from. You know what I mean? And for me, I found out where the inflammation was coming from, and so yeah. Before I went on this journey and of evolution, man, you can go back. Um, a few years ago, I wasn't even wearing color, bro, and I didn't even realize spiritually what that was representing for me. I just thought it was more so
mm,
just, you know, my style at the moment, which it was part of it was my style, but two, I wasn't wearing color at all. Like you can go back, I got pictures. I was wearing black, black shirt, black, and it gets nothing wrong with it. It's just that for me, I didn't realize that it was a reflection of how I felt at the time.
mm,
There was some darkness in my life that needed to that I need to shed light on. So and since then, I still love my black pieces here and there, but there's a lot of color in my life. I smile a lot more. I express myself. I laugh a lot more, and that comes with being at peace with myself, and it comes with
mm.
getting myself out of bondage. And telling your truth and expressing yourself. I tell people all the time, when you don't ex- when you're not telling your testimony because you are trying to um um protect everybody else, you're only putting yourself in bondage. I didn't my goal wasn't to make my mom sound like a villain or make my dad or anybody in my life sound bad because of my childhood, but I have to tell my story. I have to free myself. I have to say this is how I felt, this is how I see the world. And now the fruit is showing from that. But yeah, it was all of that, bro. The therapy, the music, returning to God. My relationship with God has just gotten a lot better. Um, and all that.
What's your relationship with God? Describe that to us.
Yeah, no, I'm very, very. So I approach my faith. I don't say different than everybody because that's not true, but a lot differently than I used to before. Before I had a very I got shot, sent away. I stayed with a few families that were Christians. You know what I mean, and they taught me the faith. You know what I mean, and but I growing up though, I was always introduced to nationality and um before it was religion. So what I did, I used to see it as a this or that thing. Like, oh, okay, cool. Well, if I'm Christian, then I cannot, be so interested in, you know, black progression and black economics and black history and because it's Christian. So I need to go over here and just, Jesus, 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 Jesus until I evolved and I learned that all of that it's the perfect marriage. You know what I mean? As it relates to, and I say this all the time, and it always leave people stunned because it's so true that, but a lot of people don't think about it. God is not American.
Oh, wait a minute. That hits. That hits, cat.
Think about it.
That hits.
Like to, to give it a standalone moment. God is not American. If that's the case, which it is the case, but if that's the case, then the same God that we talking about here as we are, you know, wherever we are right now, it's the same God somewhere on the other side of the world, in the smallest place in the world, the same God. So who am I to box and to remove the God's attributes? Who am I to have this singular view on God? Now, don't get me wrong. My faith is my faith, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ashamed of my faith at all. But as a leader and as a person who's called to lead the masses, it's important that we don't close off God and put God in the boxes that we create. You know what I'm saying? So as I've evolved, my relationship with God is the most important thing to me. But what I don't do is um use my relationship with God as propaganda, though. I don't and I used to, if you go back into my story, you'll see, I used to be in a Christian rap group, bro. I used to, rap about like Jesus. I'm talking about like scriptures, every bar, all that. Now I found the way to to creatively to weave the knowledge and my faith, my relationship with God into a bar that I'm not going, and you're not gonna hear me the gray one I'm using, you're not gonna hear me kill people. You're still not gonna hear me, speak against my faith or speak against humanity. But you're gonna hear me talk, instead of me talking about what First Corinthians say in Jesus. You're gonna hear me talk about homelessness and meeting the homeless people and the elders and mental health and the children, because all that is God too. All of that, all of it. It's unfortunate that when people think about faith, though, that like I don't have my rings on now, but I have like I wear a lot of African, jewelry, what I mean? So I have an ankh, I have, like a Sankofa bird, I have a lot of things, and it's amazing how um I've read comments, and sometimes like it's hard for me to keep up with comments these days on my social medias, because it's a lot of like followers, but there's times I get a chance to kind of go through them, and it's amazing how until I talk out loud, a lot of people like, oh yeah, man, I ain't know what you believe in. Like, how did you get that? Oh man, because I see your uncle on your finger. My uncle. Just say you don't know what that is versus say that you think, because the uncle is just the death, burial, and the resurrection. The uncle is just masculine and the feminine nature of God. That's it, brother. That's all. That's all. That didn't distract. That's not another religion. I didn't create nothing separate over here. I'm not worshiping the the sun god. Just say you don't know. Just say, hey, I have not done my. Just say I'm repeating what I heard somebody say, bro. Just say I
Mhm.
don't know about Egyptian history. I don't know about hieroglyphics. Just say, man, I think that Jesus started in slavery. Just say that, and then I will respond to you and say, hey, bro, God was here the whole time. Just say that the same God that we talk about in America, Western civilization. Just say you didn't study beyond what mom and dad told you. Just say that. Just say that you only stay inside your group of friends and family, and you don't travel the world and go to places where God was there too. God is not American. The stuff we eat, the way we see the world, that don't limit
Mhm.
God. Like that ain't like that ain't. And who are we to think that? So my faith is a holistic. It looks like, what I'm saying, and it encompasses everything.
All encompassing.
I'm not
All
I'm
encompassing.
not separating God from nothing. I'm not separating God from me going outside, putting my feet in some grass, to eating better, to the homelessness. It bothers me, bro. Sometimes, a lot of times. I'll be honest with you. I haven't been to church in years, bro. Like 10 years, man. You know what I'm saying? Not because I have nothing against. I think there's some amazing churches out here that's really doing the work, and that's really, a place for community and families and healing. Um, I spent a lot of time in church when I was younger. You know, I used to be an armor bearer, bro. I used to be a deacon, a licensed evangelist, all of those things. And
Oh wow, cat.
yeah, a lot of people don't know that about me.
Evangelist too.
Yes, I was evangelist,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
Like I share the gospel, bro. Like, but and to this day I still do the same thing. I just don't use it as a platform. I just don't feel the need to. Like, it's a thin line, bro. It's a thin line of people that use faith for followers and use God. And
Yeah.
I just feel like faith is supposed there's still supposed to be a sacredness to it. So no, I'm not going out here screaming,
Oh,
you know, talking about, unless we having a conversation to where it makes sense in context. But out of context, I don't feel the need to go out here and prostitute my faith, bro, and get fans and followers and friends because I read the same book as you. Nah, bro, you gonna see that in my fruit. The Bible say, tree by its fruit. If you got spiritual eyes, you're gonna be able to see her and know, okay, that's something different. But no, it does not fit in your four walls that you go worship at on Sundays, because I believe that we spend too much time in there and not enough time with the homeless, bro. Why? You know what I'm saying? Why are we not at the mentally ill? Why we not at the shelters, man? Why are we not, and I'm not saying some people are not. I'm just saying, like, this was where I started drawing a line. I'm like, okay, cool, Pastor. Um, it's homeless people right here all the time that I see you drive past, brother. Or, hey, Pastor, you drive a Bentley and you park it in the front, and your congregations, the on minimum wage and on WIC and food stamps, brother, and you got a Rolex on your wrist, brother. I have an issue with that, man. Or, you know, why your church look better than, why there's not a fund in your church where if somebody laid on their bills that they can come in and talk to the pastor in the church and they pay their light bill, brother. And again, I'm not saying it don't exist. This is just when I had that moment of like, okay, cool. I don't like that. I don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? And you
mhm.
know, and at first, some people I've been blackballed by the church. They don't, bro. Last time I went to the church to perform, this was years ago though. Like, to speak, they cut my mic off, bro, because I started talking
In mid
about
speech.
black issues and social issues. I was an activist at the time, so I saw police brutality, and they didn't call me in the church to do that, so they didn't invite me back. But and so I've taken a lot of stones early in my career for black consciousness. Now everybody talk about it. Now it's becoming hot, but I've if you go through my history and see me at 19, 20, you can type my name in YouTube and see me marching, protesting, and rallying. Bro, I was 23. The Christian community drew a distance from me. They called me a hotel. They called me a Muslim. They called me everything because I was marching and I'm protesting, and I have Muslims right on the side of me. There's Black Panthers here. There's all that, but not knowing that I'm a reflection of the Most High, bro. You know what I'm saying? To be able to commune and to be able to politic with those of different faith is strong and powerful. But instead of you seeing it like that, you like, oh yeah, man, I don't know what his faith is. Just say you don't know. But to blackball me, to speak negative, to say, hey, to not invite me around, it hurt my feelings at one point in my life. Now I've been able to build my own world to where it doesn't even matter, and a lot of them have hit their ceilings, and God is continuing to use me. And I'm not saying it in a boisterous way. I'm just saying it as a fact, because the Bible say He'll make your enemy your footstools. I didn't say that, He said it. So there's a reason why I'm ascending, and there's a reason why some people hit their ceiling, because at the end of the day, God is not American. God, it's not limited to how you see things. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, why? What
I
makes
do.
us think that God is like he's negotiating with our view on life? No, and I need God every day, bro. And again, when people say, "Okay, cool, well, you believe in God, but I mean, do you believe in Jesus?" Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're confused because I don't say Jesus because his name was Yeshua, and I rather. But why does the nuances bother so much? If Jesus was here today, do you know that he would be speaking Arabic? He wouldn't speak English anyway. In Arabic, how do they say God? Allah. So would you have an issue with Jesus? A lot of people would, bro. They would, because they don't want to. He didn't even speak English. That would he Jesus if we go off of what was taught, like if we go off of like the basic, a Middle Eastern, if we go off of that, Jesus wouldn't speak English nor hang out with none of us. So it's like we would crucify him all over again, brother.
Mhm.
We would, because it don't fit in our politics. It don't fit in where we shop at. Jesus wore a robe and sandals. He was dirty to some people. To some people, he didn't have no money. To some people, his hair was like wool. He had melanin in his skin. He like a black man. To some people, we'll crucify him all over again, bro. So that's why I don't get off into that. I don't, because we're never going to be able to appease or appeal to people. I believe faith should be sacred as possible, and it should only be shared with like-minded individuals, and in an attempt to get a better understanding or understanding of how do we love God and love people. That's the only time I want to talk about faith. I don't want to talk about how much I know. I know that book though, the Pentateuch books, the Decalogue. I used to read the Bible when I read my Bible. I haven't done it in a while, but when I read my Bible, I read it with a concordance, a Greek concordance, Hebrew dictionary. Like I haven't did that much. I still read my Bible daily, but I haven't done that much like in depth studying like I used to. I used to study to show myself approved, but I ain't gonna lie, I used to do it just to flex how much I know, so I can be an apologist and I can defend the faith, bro. But while I was doing that, there was elders that that's struggling to or homeless people that don't even have water. But here I am, bro, driving right past them, bro, to get to run to my church house, bro, to stand there in my air condition and my nice clothes, man. And so it broke my heart at one point. And I'm like, okay, God, how do I do this?
Mhm.
And I created, I started a company. My company's called God Body Energy. So I have an entertainment company, I have a nonprofit organization, and through those two entities, I serve the community, bro. I put other people in place. Um, I've created a place, but again, the Christian community don't accept me still to this day. They like,
Mhm.
oh, he
I
too,
was
yeah,
going to talk about God Body. I was going to talk about
yeah,
God
yeah,
Body.
yeah.
I'm glad
God,
you
that's
brought it
my
up. So,
brand, bro. That's my brand. That's my company. And God body is just God in my body, bro. It's it. That's all. Like people want to make, of course you can trace back to the origins of, the God body rhetoric, back in we could talk supreme mathematics, we could talk more Scientology. We can go there too. I believe God is in all that too, by the way. A lot of people disagree, but I believe that, God was smarter than God is the genius. I'm not as smart as God. So supreme mathematics, if it all points back to God, why are we arguing? And now if it points you some other way, then you yeah, stay away from it. You know what I'm saying? But supreme mathematics, we can go there, but when I use the term God body, I'm talking about the spirit of God. Talking about spirit of God, arm, leg, arm, head of God, being a body and a mouth of the Most High. That's all God body is. That's it. And so my music comes out through my own label. That's God Body Records. I started my own festival called God Body Weekend that happens annually in Houston, and I do the free food program where we go out. We do a mass outreach where we feed the homeless. I write checks to homeless shelters. um, but even outside of God Body Weekend, we do sock and shoe drives. I give away turkeys, I give away toys, books, and just try to do programming, bro, outside of my music to help those in need, bro. Like I'm not perfect at all. I need God's mercy and grace every day, man. But I have a hard time thinking that we should be storing our riches up and we should create this distance from God's people, bro. I just
mhm.
genuinely don't believe in that.
Now, tell me, when we're talking about God Body and the nonprofit work that you do, that how long has that been going on?
That's over 10 years, bro. I'm 35. I just turned 36. I started my nonprofit when I was 23.
23 years old. What was it? What was the creation? Why did you begin to form that?
I have always had a heart for the community, bro. And I come from gang culture, and in a gang, it was always about being a part of something. So I just wanted to create something that people could be a part of. I didn't know what it would eventually grow to. And now it's, I mean, still to this day, what I'm saying, I'm able to provide a space for creators, for artists, for poets, for writers, to express themselves, but also give them a spiritual leadership inadvertently, because I'm nobody's pastor or I don't subscribe to that, but I do know my gifts though. I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. I'm an orator. I'm cut from. A lot of people want to lead people, but they don't want to talk to people, and I don't understand it because I'm an orator. I come from whatever cloth, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Bob Marley, Tupac, where they will look you in your eyes and talk to you. Like I'm not. I don't hide. Like you see my interviews in real life, brother. I don't hide behind no Instagram. I will talk. I will look you in your face and tell you exactly what I'm telling you. I'm cut from that cloth. The Marcus Garveys, the real life leaders that will stand front line and say, "Hey, this is this is my philosophy. This is how I see the world, and this is where I'm willing to stand on, and this is where I'm not willing to compromise, and this is where I'm willing to go to war." I'm cut from that cloth. So, with God Body, I just created that platform in hopes to empower other people to feel the same way about themselves.
I'm glad you got to share them because I was very curious. So when we talk about God body and the spirituality of it, but also in the foundational work and where that came from, and I wanted people to be able to hear some of the work that you're doing with
Yes,
that.
sir.
That's the other
Thank you,
thing,
sir.
and I'm glad we got to share that. There's so many ways. There's other questions that came up with that I wanted to explore because first, God is not American. It alone is a title of one of your songs. It should be,
Yeah,
and so that's what I was hoping to be able to. I'm trying to switch some of my light here, but God is not American has all the pieces of a song that should be written because I think there's such a deeper magnification that can be examined as far as that as a concept, and it does put one on pause. It does put one on pause to just examine that as a concept. God is not American.
not
The
American at
expansive
all.
nature, yeah, and the expansive nature of what that is just beyond. There's so much to pause on that and just really give some thought to that. That is food for the soul. It
That's
truly
yeah,
is.
yeah. No, I think and it's something that simple. You would think that everybody thinks about that, but no, I think that a lot of people don't think about that. God ain't American. God is not male or female. God is not none of that. God definitely operates in a masculine polarity. You know what I'm saying at times, but I could also read that book too and show you the feminine nature of God too. God is neither. God is none of the boxes that we put him in. You know what I mean? None of them. Like none of it. And so I try my best not to put God in no box. To some people may feel like, oh man, so you're not staking your claim and being bold in the faith. If you want to see it as that, cool. I'm just not finna put God in a box, and then when I see God one day, he's upset at me because he like, bro, I'm trying to use you over here and doing all this, but you wanted to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that.
And that's the other thing that brings up a whole other conversation that I think you tagged on too. Sometimes he might want to use you, but you're preoccupied with other things.
Backpop with again, just the way that we see the world, man, and I challenge myself every day just to be an instrument of God, bro. Like,
Yes, yes,
it's hard to. I'm not gonna say it's not hard to because we have our own will. We do. We have our own will, bro. I want to do it this way, this time, this day. I don't want to do anything outside of it. But it's important that we stay fluid, we stay open to things of God, and I challenge myself every day to be that and to make sure that I'm being a light. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I appreciate this platform truly because you know when I do get interviewed and stuff, I don't get asked a lot of questions that I know like I'm a stoic, bro. Like I think about a lot of stuff, but some people
yes. God, you
they don't.
talking to a fellow stoic.
Yeah,
Mellow.
they don't ask those questions, and they don't, sometimes they don't want to go there, you know what I mean? And it's okay, you know what I mean? But I have that knowledge up there, you know what I'm saying, as well. Uh um Jamila's blowing up my phone because I have a meeting I have to get to, but you know what I'm saying, so I'll
Yes,
give it
yes.
back to you and then we can, yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I got to tell you, brother AJ, this has been one of the best interviews I have had,
Oh
and
man,
just I
gratitude.
got to tell you the gratitude to you, Cap, because the blessing that you're giving to our audiences, and I just got to tell you, I love you, brother, and support
Love you,
everything that you
bro.
do.
Thank you, brother.
I can't tell you the joy and the frolicking nature that you brought to my soul
Yes, sir. Good frolic, man. Good frolic, bro.
and the wisdom and the depth. Brother AJ McQueen, and it's on the When We Evolve Tour 2025, coming to 13 different cities near you. And AJ, please do know you have a platform always here with Makers Bar, where we're creating 1 million leaders today for tomorrow. Brother, this has been it's so much more than I even had hoped. I was already having so much of an excitement and anticipation in getting to speak with you and getting some in-depth knowledge into your psyche and your spirit. And this has been more than rich and worthy of the spirituality of it. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much
bro.
for joining us today, Cap.
My pleasure, bro. Thank you for having me, man. Shout out to you and everything that you got going on. I pray that whoever
Thank you,
watches
brother.
this or listens to this, that they be inspired, and they feel motivated for sure.
Absolutely. AJ, please tell people where to reach you at,
Yeah.
where they can get more of your music and to be in touch with you.
Yeah. So my Instagram, AJ McQueen, just AJ McQueen. Yes, that's my real name. You know what I'm saying? People be like, oh man, you got a nice superstar name. Well,
You do.
that's
Yeah.
I didn't even know that until somebody, I used to work at a call center and I used to answer the phone. Thank you for calling Manhattan Life. This is AJ McQueen. How can I help you? And one day I was stopped. She said, say that again. I said, AJ McQueen. She said, your name sounds popular. You know what I'm saying? And I used to use all these other aliases and monikers, but then when I started using my name, but it'd be funny because no matter where I go, people be like, so what's your real name? They,
No, like
I'm
it can't
telling
be
you.
your real.
But no, it's AJ McQueen, and then my website ajthegreat.com. Yeah.
I know what's your real name, right?
Bro, I'll be like, bro, my dad, that was my dad's name. So you think me and my dad got the same name, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
but yeah, man, but it's one of them names that, when people, when history, when it's all said and done, people, there's a Malcolm, there's a Martin, there's a Marley, there's a Garvey, and there's a McQueen, man. And my name sits right up in that spot, man. So, you know what I mean? But, AJ the Great on my website, you can, my music, my tour, my books, all of that. And AJ McQueen are all like, streaming platforms where you can find my music at.
absolutely. AJ, again, brother, I truly thank God. I thank you and the time that you took out to share this spirituality with you. This has been one of the most rewarding. In fact, I've had some great people that I've been able to talk to, but this has been one of the most rewarding experiences I've
First,
had as a podcast host and as a person who's been in the music community. And you are definitely considered one of the love brothers in my life.
thank you,
I
bro.
just got to say, this has been just an exceptional
Man,
experience. I just must say, and I am so pleased and honored and humbled that God has given us this
thank you,
opportunity
bro.
and to share
Same,
with
bro.
the makers for our audience. Absolutely, Cap.
Thank you, Black man.
So
I appreciate it, bro. We locked in, man, for
you
sure.
got it. Oh, we frolicking today,
Yeah,
man.
probably get it.
I tell you oh.
For sure.
Yo, brother, so
Yeah.
much love to you and success. I can't wait to talk to you again.
Yes,
And
sir.
when you come into the city, please let me take you out for some drinks, whatever we can do to celebrate and
Yes, sir.
just
What city
continue
you
to
in, bro?
honor. I'm in LA. Well, actually in Thousand Oaks, Ventura County, but I
I'll be
come
there
into
soon.
LA
So we gonna connect for sure. I'll be
Figure.
there soon. Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh, Cat is definite. It's just a definite. Like you said, we locked in.
Yeah.
I can't even say again. I'm so grateful that God has given me this opportunity to speak
Thank
with
you,
a
bro.
brother like yourself.
Yes,
And
sir.
it is just such an honor, so much superpower to you and blessings, brother. And
Thank
I'm
you, bro.
looking forward
Same.
to seeing you again. Absolutely, Cat. all the blessings. Yo, so I got to tell you, thank you, Makers Bar audience, for being with your boy, Seth Garu Baxter, today on Makers Bar. Thank you for the experience and the opportunity. And remember that the revolution that we want is the love-olution. So let's begin our revolution of love. Peace, and be kind to each other, and know that the God body exists. Yes, and that it is a good opportunity anytime you get 30 minutes to go out and frolic today, Black man.
Let's go frolic.
So that's it. And feel the joy, and do know that there are artists out there that represent the deeper spirituality that bring you quality of music. And AJ McQueen is one of those cats. You should definitely check out his Instagram, check out his tour, and please be in touch with this brother and give him support. AJ McQueen, blessings and goodwill to you today, sir.
Thank you, brother. Peace.
Absolute peace.
All right.